And witness, your point was that you're saying that the figures of the 29th of December had Mr. Kibaki in front and not Mr. Odinga. That's your position, isn't it?
And you query.
That's correct.
If it is the case that the lawyer is telling you that on television you would be hearing that Mr. Odinga was in front, would you agree with that? On the 29th. If you don't agree with her, you can say no. You can maintaining your position that it was Mr. Kibaki who was in front on the 29th on television as well. You can tell her that.
Your Honour, the Swahili booth is having problems. There are technical problems.
Thank you, but the witness hasn't responded yet.
Mr. President, I'm informed that the continuing technical problems have arisen again and that there's no Swahili interpretation arriving to the witness.
Oh, I see. Is the problem interpreters in Swahili booth? Can you hear me now? You can hear me. All right. Ms. Passman, can you take again the question about the figures or the what appeared on audio, radio being the same as on TV?
Witness. What I just read out to you, witness, I suggest that that was exactly what was said live on television on the 29th of December 2007 by Samuel Kivuitu. That's what I'm putting to you, and I ask you whether in light of this you change your mind, whether or not Raila Odinga was leading or was it Kibaki.
Tariki 29 mwenye aliongoza alikuwa mheshimiwa Mwai.
On the 29th, it was Honourable Mwai Kibaki. He was in front.
And you said that was the information you got from watching television. Is that the case?
Dio, hiyo ndio nilipata.
It is. That's where I got the information from.
I will move on. Witness, you also mentioned that on the 28th of December 2007, some people told you they heard an announcement on KAS FM that Raila Odinga was the winner. That was on the 28th of December 2007. Do you recall saying that?
Nilisema.
Said that?
And just to clarify, it was not you listening to the radio, you heard that from these people, correct?
And you query.
That's correct.
And these people told you that the announcement was made by Joshua Arap Sung. That's what you told us yesterday. Do you agree?
Walisema kumetangazwa kwa KAS FM.
He said that KAS FM had communicated that. But when I was interviewed, I was asked who KAS FM belonged to. I answered saying it belonged to Joshua Arap Sang.
Are you telling us now that it wasn't Joshua Arap Sang who made that announcement according to these people? No.
Ms. Bausman, what's your question? What point are we getting at with this question about what people told her on the 28th? The reason for the cross-examination on that point would have to be, wouldn't it, that no one told her that. If that is your point, yes, I see, but I don't see the point of cross-examining a witness on what other people told her.
Mr. President, we're not necessarily suggesting that that's not what you heard. We're just suggesting that the information was incorrect. And it's something that I wanna give the witness an opportunity to respond to. I mean, I have some propositions to make, and I want to hear her proposition.
I see your point, but what do we make of an answer to that kind of question if other people's information were incorrect? Did she say that, in her view, that was correct information?
Mr. President, we want to clarify for the record that this is not, this wasn't something that was said on the radio, and it's important because a lot of what the witness says follows from that. So we basically want to clarify it, and it's not we're not necessarily suggesting that this witness is lying. She may be mistaken, she may not be mistaken. But I think it's fair at least to give her an opportunity to respond to a number of propositions that clearly contradict that Joshua Arap Sang would have said something like that on the 28th of December 2007.
But isn't it enough that she did not hear Joshua Sang say it? So we can move on, you know. We've had difficulty with microphone and the witness and other things. So if there are some questions that we don't need to ask, I think we can dispense with those and move on.
Can I just clarify what these people said to her? Because in the transcript of yesterday, we have his name mentioned. So if we clarify that, and then if there's no mentioning of Joshua Arap Sang, I move on. I'll leave it there. Witness, am I to understand you correctly that when these people told you that KAS FM made an announcement on the radio on the 28th of December 2007 announcing Raila Odinga as the winner, they did not tell you that that was Joshua Arap Sang? Did I understand you well?
I'm sorry, Mr. President, but it's just a matter of phrasing. If my learned friend is asking the witness, am I to understand you well that you said, and then to put her proposition to the witness rather than the witness's own response, which we have in the transcript from yesterday, I think it may be cause for confusion. It's probably just a phrasing issue, but of course I understand my learned friend has a proposition to put, but I don't think am I to understand you well is the best preface to my learned friend's proposition.
I can put both propositions because we have the transcripts of yesterday.
Yes, it should be. It should be with the court management now.
Please proceed.
Witness, I'm going to ask you a series of quite basic questions, probably in your view, because you're a Kenyan. But because we're not Kenyans, I'm seeking your assistance to get greater clarity. But hopefully that becomes clear from my questions. So yesterday, and today, you mentioned the position of chief in your testimony. So you're familiar with that term, aren't you?
Unajua.
Answer, yes, I know.
And you're also... Can you hear me? Sorry, I don't hear anything. I'll try again. We're good? No.
The microphone tripped off again. Interpreters, can you hear me?
Hey, Your Honour.
And you're also familiar with the term assistant chief, aren't you?
Hiyo namfahamu.
Answer, yes.
And in Kenya, the chief is responsible for a particular area, isn't he?
Hiyo.
Answer, yes.
And I'm right when I say that that particular area, which is the chief's area of responsibility, is called a location, isn't it?
Ni ukweli. No.
Answer, that's right.
And also just to...
No. Sublocation.
You said you were familiar with the term assistant chief. I put it to you that an assistant chief is responsible for a sub-location and a chief is responsible for a location. That's correct, isn't it?
Chief anasimamia location na...
Answer, the chief is responsible for the location.
Understand vile unasema.
Well, I haven't really understood you.
I'll put it again. A chief is responsible for quite a large area, and that area is called a location, isn't it?
Ni vile.
Answer, yes, that's right.
And a chief is assisted in his work by assistant chiefs, isn't he?
Hiyo.
Answer, yes.
And the area which an assistant chief is responsible for is called a sub-location. That's correct, isn't it?
Mi sijui kama inaitwa sublocation ama inaitwa nini.
Answer, I don't know whether it's called a sublocation or whatever, but I do know that the chief and his assistant work together and they help one another with their various duties.
There's an assistant chief in Kamumu called Maswai, isn't there?